we can do it live. So this is
Yes,
going to be shot out of a
well, we are currently recording. So this
cannon.
is 100% live. This is our first fantasy football. I was gonna say Final Fantasy mock draft. Man, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, nobody
Uh,
does that anymore unless you're 15. So
hey, on my phone I have one of the Final Fantasy games.
that's not true. I don't know who all is, our listener base. I do know that there is a Final Fantasy 29 that's coming out here
I
shortly.
didn't know that. I do know our listener not like me for talking trash about the Cowboys, and even though I said I
You
was
have
the
to catch
highest
me
on the
up on
team.
that because I didn't read anything that you guys were saying.
Oh, they just hate me for saying that CD Lamb isn't the leader of an elite offense, despite the Cowboys, I think, leading the league in points
Listen,
to end last year, and it's
and this
still
is what's
true.
funny. Like, this is what's funny because, like, fantasy football or real football, whatever you want, is, there's a lot of analysis that goes into it, but it's an inexact science, A. And B, you have to thread the needle between future and past, meaning take into account that CD Lamb had an unbelievable year. I get that. But take into account that we've talked about extensively. Kellen Moore was there, no real two, like not even a resemblance of a two. Dak Prescott, was when he was in passing the ball, whatever, 40 plus, 50 plus times a game. You know, you might have had CD at his peak. Plain and simple. His floor may be higher than I thought, and probably you thought, but that was probably his peak. If you had to guess, I would say that
I mean,
that was his
1,300
peak.
yards, 8 touchdowns is a great peak for someone.
Fantastic. And he may, his floor might be 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's fantastic. Maybe it's 1,200.
But,
I
like,
don't know, but I'm just saying, like, receptions. He is. They're going to get. They've got Brandon Cooks, who's no slouch. They've got Tony Pollard, who's going to be taking more out of the backfield this year because he's going to be in more. I mean,
uh, Michael Gallup, but
Gallup,
um,
I've heard, has had a fantastic camp. He looks like himself. So,
well,
uh,
so my argument against him is elite players make everyone else around them better. And 2 years ago, when Amari Cooper was there, CD was getting the secondhand treatment. Dalton Schultz was popping off. They had Cedric Wilson got a big payday because of it because he's getting no attention. Amari Cooper leaves, and the only person who had a good year last year was CD Lamb. He doesn't
yeah,
make the players around him better. Yes, he can get great numbers, but like that doesn't mean much if it doesn't produce winning. In the in the playoffs, I think I checked it. He had like 110 yards receiving. No one else on the Cowboys had more than 30. It's like you
yeah,
got to pull attention away from the other team, from your
yeah, and they
teammates to help
lost,
them out.
and they
That's
lost,
what
and they
makes
lost
you.
their offensive coordinator. So,
I would say now that's what makes you like the elite receiver on the elite teams. Devontae Adams did it. Just like I know Justin Jefferson, the Vikings aren't an elite offense, but Justin Jefferson does that. Like everyone around him gets better. They get paid for it. So that was my frustration with Cowboys fans coming at me last week. Like I'm sorry. Once if someone else gets a big payday because they're next to CD Lamb, good for them. But you had to go get Brandon Cooks and you have Michael Gallup, two guys I think you and I are probably a little bit higher on than most people. We'll actually
probably.
see in the fantasy draft though. Isn't that exciting?
I'm
Do
telling
you
you
want to
though.
stop sharing your screen so I can share mine so your computer doesn't die?
Fine.
Sorry, I just don't want to have an oh crap moment mid
Where
draft.
my computer freezes.
Yeah, at least I'll finish the draft for sure.
All right, fine. So
All right.
here we go. 12 team. Now, by the way, I think we said this last year. The most important thing that you can do if you're going into a fantasy draft, and I know it sounds incredibly elementary here, know the rules, know the standards, know exactly what the format is because people go in and you can have a completely different setup for a redraft. This is a redraft versus a dynasty, 2 QB, super flex, whatever. This format is very simple. 1 QB, two running backs, two wide receivers, two flex, one tight end, one defense, one kicker. So
Half
not a
PPR
super flex.
scoring. So if you prefer either one, we're right up the middle. Like the opinion doesn't change too much at half. It does when you go a full point difference, though. Connor's 2, I'm 3, so we get to snipe players from each other back to back picks. That's going to be a lot of fun, actually.
It'll be interesting. So
It was
here we are.
randomized. So here we
Let's
go.
rock.
I wonder who will go first. Ooh, nice little
Oh my
Cinnamon
goodness!
Toast.
I can't believe they did that. I can't believe
Were
they
you
did
gonna
that.
take
Now,
Eckler?
no, they did. They picked Eckler. I mean, that's
Makes no
computer
sense to
draft.
me. I'd say JJ or Christian McCaffrey hands
Oh,
down
I'm
here.
going. I am a wide receiver heavy drafter. You'll see this, but I'm a wide receiver hero RB, zero RB type of drafter. So pretty simple. Justin Jefferson all day long. So
Um, I'm gonna turn off the. Sorry if people can hear it. I am just gonna go the opposite way. I would have been happy with Jefferson or McCaffrey. Realistically, it probably would have been like Jamar Chase or Cup for me at this point. But since McCaffrey's there, I'm just gonna take him on
so
the best offense.
FYI for everybody else, this is totally up to you. There is lots of statistics out there that talk about wide receiver heavy, RB heavy. If this was 10 years ago, everybody's doing RB heavy all day long. Games change. There's a whole lot in between here. I'm obviously going to show you probably a wide receiver heavy draft. He's probably going to show you more of a balanced draft.
So something I want to point out since we're on this end of the draft, guys I'd be interested in maybe on the opposite end would be like I would love to get a Nick Chubb. I think he's going to be a lot more valuable this year. And then let's see, I don't know who else. Travis Kelsey's probably like the guys I'd be
I'm
hoping
shocked
for.
that they took Bijan this high, but it is a computer. Hey,
All right,
Mr.
so
Elite wide receiver almost didn't get out of or barely made it into the first round. This was 10 team, would not have made it in.
all right, so looking at this, tons of wide receivers I like coming up on after the turn. Running backs fall off a lot harder as always. So I'm going to go with the guy that I said watch out for him to lead the league in rushing yards. That's going to be Tony Pollard. Look at that, Cowboys fans. I'm backing you here, but you know what? Like, it doesn't matter. It's not CD Lamb.
I just can't believe that. I mean, I am just shocked. I'm shocked that you're going RB heavy. But
I
anyways,
typically wouldn't, but like, so typically I'd get a wide receiver in that first spot, but McCaffrey fell.
yeah, but look,
McCaffrey
I
would be
mean,
my first
the other
overall
part
pick.
is like exactly where the game is going. Even analytics is telling you wide receivers are coming off the board right off the bat. I mean, this is 2/3 so far have been wide receivers. So, all right.
Something else I want to point out before Connor makes his pick. You can make your pick and then talk about it because you have another one coming up. I had Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott on a dynasty team last year, and they carried me the second half of the playoffs. Cowboys fans, I don't hate the Cowboys. I just don't think CD Lamb is as good as you think he is.
Man, I'm actually looking at the wide receivers that are off the board. I would have liked the Garrett Wilson. I would have liked a Waddle. I probably would have liked an AJ Brown. I'm high on St. Brown too, but here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna stick to it. Said that I was doing it. I'm going for, as crazy as it sounds, I'm gonna take an elite offense and somebody who should be a wide receiver one, and the only reason he's not is because he plays for the Bengals. So I'm taking a rising star, elite offense all the way up. That's my man T. I'm actually looking to try and trade for him right now in one of my
I love me
dynasties.
some
But
T Higgins.
listen, plain and simple, like this guy should be a wide receiver one. He's probably going to have the difference between him and like let's say right. So for me, like right now, I had the opportunity to get Olave or T Higgins, and those are the two that I probably would have went for. I would say I'm betting on better offense, better quarterback. I think Olave is going to have better opportunity share. Fine, but at the end of the day, I think it's better for me to have, uh, you know, an elite upside guy. So what's actually going to happen right now is I can see that your computer is actually picking up mine. I can see that Jalen Hurts and Brees Hall were picked. I can't see that on my screen because it's frozen. However, I'm going to figure it out anyways.
Can you
So
still make a pick? Because
I
it's
can.
not
Let's
good
see.
if you
Let's
can't
see what
make your
happens
own
here.
picks.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's not letting me make one. However, I'll figure it out.
That's so awkward.
All right, so I see Brees gone. I see Jalen Hurts gone. Man.
Is there a
Ooh, I
pause
probably better
draft
pick up
button?
my hero. I got to pick up my hero right now. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I have been all over him all off season. pick Ramondre for me because that's what I'm going for.
I don't know if I
I
can
mean,
pick someone for you.
yeah, you're right. Let me see if I have to refresh or something.
I mean, you have 20 seconds. Pretty soon, it's not gonna let you. It's gonna be auto picked.
Ramondre. This is at this point.
Okay, you got him.
I'm looking at my hero, right? So I'm looking at my hero because I'm a big hero guy. I like the hero RB strategy because you need one that's probably going to be a true bell cow or attempt to be a true bell cow. Ramondre lost whatever ghost of James Robinson was. Yes, there's rumors of Dalvin Cook getting there, but and again, I am not necessarily. I'm less afraid now of Bill Belichick than I was probably last year because he didn't have Bill O'Brien there. Bill O'Brien, if I remember correctly, had Arian Foster when he was there. Bill O'Brien is also the same guy that was at Alabama for a while that had produced just insane level running backs. Alabama's running back room is insane. I think he's actually going to be in Bill's ear a little bit. And I think unless they pick up Dalvin Cook, caveat, I think he has the ability to be a 3-down back and everyone's playing catch up.
All right. So now this is tough. I really regret getting Pollard because I would have gone like with Mark Andrews if I could, but I need a receiver now. So I like Olave. Like Olave's the one on his team, which is what I want. But I'm gonna go with it's a little outside, but Keenan Allen, high floor guy. I believe Kellen Moore is going to make that offense hum more. And I think he's just going to be a high floor guy, someone I am always happy to have in my lineup kind of thing. Guys, I'm missing because we're on this side of the draft. I would have loved Calvin Ridley and Amari Cooper. Those were guys that I just, it's a heartbreak, but just given the position, I think Keenan Allen is just the better choice, more reliable and higher floor. Here, we get to go, and I get to get a guy that I was all excited about last week. I'm so excited that I get to draft him. That is Terry McLaurin. I believe in Eric Bieniemy. I don't know how much I believe in Sam Howell, but I believe that they're going to be able to do good things with him. So I'm actually really happy with my first two picks. I get two high volume guys on offense as receivers, and then I got two huge upsides with running back. So back to you.
All right, so I'm debating here. So as I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so I will likely do this and get them both, but I'll start with seeing what Team One already did. QB's off the board, so I'm not going to go QB here.
This is important because Connor's looking at what Team One did. They need a receiver, right? They have two running backs and a quarterback.
Exactly right.
If there's a
now
receiver Connor wants,
you're making bets
two.
here. You're making bets, and here's the deal. I purely believe that this is going. I mean, this is a little bit of a reach. I would like to get him 2 rounds later, but I don't think he will be here. But you're swinging for the fences here. You're talking about straight up alpha dudes. Best case scenario, he becomes probably what I would consider to be the pure wide receiver one. He has every opportunity to be the guy. Justin Fields has to be marginally better as a passer. I think they got to give him the full reins. He's still going to be more like I know the analogy has been out there forever, but if he turns into Jalen Hurts, I mean, you're talking whatever AJ Brown was last year, top 7, I think is what it was. I don't think he can support 2 ones like Devontae, who was 9, but he could definitely support 1. And I'm hoping they're giving the guy that they paid $80 million to, or they picked up the contract for $80 million. Yeah, I'm going to choose him.
Well, that was the contingency for them to give up number 1. Like that's a big point to note. That it's like they weren't giving away for that draft pick package. They needed a receiver. They knew it, and they said the only team that has an elite 1 that we can get is DJ Moore.
All right, so if I'm betting,
elite might be a wrong word. A very, very great one.
Yeah, and if I'm a betting man, this guy has done a lot more with a lot worse. So I think Justin Fields does take the step forward. But all right, so these next 2 picks, I'm probably going to guess yours because we have the same philosophy. But I'm going to take Herbert. You're probably going to take Lawrence because we have the same philosophy, which is you either got to be in the elite QB tier or you can let it fall. And I know that you can just decide what you want with Lawrence, but I think Lawrence sneaks into that tier for me. Um, and I would have been happy with either one because, again, rising offenses here.
So I wanted Herbert so bad. I didn't think you were going to take a quarterback.
You
I'm
wanted
actually
to
going to go.
stack him. I understand.
I wanted to stack him really badly. I wouldn't have. I'm not going to take Lawrence here.
The only better stack would be if somebody had Cup and Stafford. That's about the only better stack. But then you're
Agreed. Just the pepper targets, the high floor
yeah.
each week. So I'm looking around. I could take anything. Kyle Pitts is interesting here. I'm not going to draft him, but he is interesting. I'm not touching Jamar Gibbs. Sticking with the Lions hate gave out 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Hey.
I'm not doing a guy that's gonna definitely split time. So honestly, but for me, it's between Dobbins and Sanders. Dobbins was so good last year.
See, this is what's crazy to me is that you truly are doing like
I'm all over the place right now.
A
I am
total
just not
throwback. You're doing a
I was not ready.
2010 draft right now.
I wasn't ready for this at all. I'm not gonna lie. But actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with the guy. Gonna go Jerry Jeudy. I'm gonna keep getting the high floor at receiver. Guys with lots of targets, number ones on their teams with hopefully good pass with good throwers. So you talked me out of the running back position, but I think Jeudy could have a good year. I think Judy's a guy that definitely could be like a 1,300 yard guy, like CeeDee Lamb was last year.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on now. Now look at this. See, this is why I didn't take him last round. I saw all these quarterbacks off the board. Right? That means the most beautiful quarterback, according to Ken, the hot guy on campus, Trevor Lawrence, is still there for me. I wish I could have gotten Kyle Pitts. I like having a good tight end, but he's like, there was no shot he was making it to round 6. So give me the long flowing hair, Trevor Lawrence all the way.
See, I knew
MVP candidate with the guy who moves well. There's another thing.
He has a nice floor from running. I knew we were going to end up in the similar rounds for QB.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, actually, if I didn't get Lawrence here, I would have punted. I would have been like, give me, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, something like that.
All right. So I'm looking at what's left, okay? And we have, in my opinion, 2 guys that I think could potentially be a true wide receiver 1 and potentially a fantasy wide receiver 1. I'm drafting this dude wherever I can. I have been, and I think he's just a better pure wide receiver and an offense. His efficiency is off the charts. I know you know where I'm going with this, and that's Brandon Ayuk.
So, Ayuk was one of the guys I would have considered had I not gone Lawrence at that last pick.
So clearly, this is also the show that you can tell that there is a computer picking in front of you because they just took George Pickens over Michael Pittman.
They took him back to back. All right.
I get it. Fine. But you know who's going to be value later on? Deontay Johnson. If he hangs around, he's going to be a value play later on. So we'll see. All right. So I'm looking at what I have here. I don't see a ton of value here at running back.
If you see anyone with like a red flag where you're looking and you're like, do not draft this person,
so
just throw that out too.
That's what I'm seeing. At this point, I'm going to be looking at probably stacking my wide receivers even more. So I am actually probably going to look at, again, I understand, I get it, but there's nobody here in Tennessee. Nobody. So camp rumors are that he has looked completely different this year. By the way, a big thing for him is that Malik Willis is not ready to play. They've already said that. And the guy they just drafted, I can't even remember. The guy they just drafted, what's his name? Holy cow. Anyways, I cannot believe, how am I forgetting this? He dropped so far. Kid from Kentucky, Will Levis, has looked abysmal in camp. I'm telling you.
Crazy. Who would have thought the guy that fell in the draft looked abysmal?
Tannehill, he can support a 1. He can support a 1. The guy is paid 30. He is the top 3 or 4 cap hits this year. They're going to play him. That is important to know.
All right, let me ask you something. Why didn't you take Kamara?
It's going to be suspended.
Oh, is he really? I haven't been updated.
He's
That's why I
got. I
wondered why he's
mean,
so low.
there. I would follow in like a lawyer, and the
Mm-hmm.
lawyer is basically saying that, like on Twitter, he's basically said, "Hey, there's almost no way he comes out unscathed. Whether it's 4, 6, 8, whatever, there's no way that he's coming out unscathed." And Jamal Williams is Jamal Williams. The dude had 15 touchdowns from 1 yard last year.
It's a good
He's
point.
going to get,
His
some
all
kind of
right. I have
something.
30 seconds. So I am just gonna round out my team. I feel like this guy fell. I typically wouldn't go Goddard. I'm not. It's not a super sexy pick. He's the third option on a non-pass heavy offense. But he's a good receiver. So good receiving tight end. I'm not going to be upset that I start him every week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one round behind where I would normally take a top tier.
Guys, looking at this is a danger zone really for me. 7-8. This is I feel like where people end up taking guys that I really hate. So just want to point out some Isaiah Pacheco. Loved him last year. I don't trust to draft a Chiefs running back high. I got burned by CEH for a while. And David Montgomery's another guy. I'm just not going to trust anyone in Detroit because I don't know who's going to be the guy. It might be Craig Reynolds off the bench,
Craig
So
Reynolds got picked up by KC.
I don't know. No.
Maybe.
No. I was talking about making fun of David Montgomery in Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. I was like, okay, man, that's unfortunate.
All right, so let's see what we got here. Honestly, I think this is a guy with a lot of talent who has been underutilized, and I think Eric B. Enemy. Oh, I can't take him. Eric B. Enemy is going to utilize him more. Antonio Gibson, I'm not taking him because I don't believe in the Redskins totally or the Commanders totally. But I would take him as another running back if I didn't already have Terry McLaurin. Instead, oh man, this is hard. When you are just coming in blind, it turns out it's really hard to draft.
Hmm. You don't say.
So let's see what we got. High floor receivers. My running backs should be set. Oh, here we go. Actually, no, that's not who I want.
Don't do it.
I'm not.
If you take Rashad Penny, I'll punch you.
I was thinking about it, but you know what?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Everything that we have talked about, granted, okay, that's not true.
High upside.
We don't always talk about fantasy here. However, if you're in a PPR league, I get it. Like, if you don't play as much PPR, but you're in a half PPR here.
All right, sorry. I'm just gonna go. Brandon Cooks. Dude's been successful everywhere he's gone.
Take the guys that have the ability to get the value touches. And I say that because I'm not a huge fan of either of these guys in Washington. However, I'm going to take a new offensive coordinator, and I'm going to take a guy that supposedly is the new Jerick McKinnon. We'll see how
Antonio Gibson, the guy I said I was thinking about taking.
I'm shocked.
I should have just done it.
I mean, I get it. I wouldn't take him either because of the way that you drafted. But I mean, I'm gonna take him. I'll be happy to have him fall. I mean,
oh, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention a guy I really would have loved to take is Kadarius Toney. I've hyped him up a lot, so just wanted to throw it out there once more.
So now I have a decision to make, right? So I have the decision to make. Okay, I maybe need another running back just to fill out, but I got a bunch of guys in here that I think are going to fall. So I'm going to look at either wide receiver again, or I need to take a tight end. Who's left? Who do I think is in the right offense? There's two options here. I love Evan Ingram. Always think that he was a super athlete. He was, quote unquote, Kyle Pitts light coming out of college. Everyone gassed him up. Freak athlete, playing tight end. Can't catch cold. Figured out how to catch cold last year, but so what do you do here? I'm gonna go ahead and actually, unless I see some crazy value here, which I don't on the wide receivers, probably a good time. I think I am gonna go ahead and pick them up, but here's what I'm debating. We got a minute to talk about it. Either take Evan Ingram or take someone else and pick up Dulcich later. Dulcich was off the charts. If you take out, he got overshadowed because Kyle Pitts had a historic season the year before. But in terms of like historic tight end seasons, he's right up there in all elite categories. Target percentage, A dot, uh, catches, routes run for all the kind of deep sort of analytics, whatever. But you know, I can't see him coming back around. Evan Ingram at least, so I got to pull the trigger. But if I wasn't, I would pull. I would I'm big on Dulcich.
So I'm actually gonna say something I regret. Hindsight's 2020, obviously, but I got Goddard, and I didn't think Evan Ingram would come back around. Otherwise, I would have liked to stack Lawrence and Ingram and had
Yep.
Javonte Williams here. I think Javonte Williams would have been a great high upside pick as
Yep.
a third running back, and then I would have had a tight end I like nearly as much as Goddard. But it is what it is. That's why you gotta try to think of what your draft mates are doing. So here we're just back to not being happy with what we see. I want Michael Thomas so bad. You know me. Last year I was hyping him up, and it's like the talent's there, the usage is there, is the health. So I'm actually going to ignore him for now, and I'm going to go grab my third running back. Now remember, I have Pollard and McCaffrey. My team is built on those two playing well. If they don't, I'm screwed. So I want a high upside running back that can just like, if it all works out, my team looks phenomenal. And if it doesn't, at least I still have two starting running backs. So, Connor, you're gonna yell at me, but I'm going
I
with
know
Penny.
you're gonna pick him.
I'm going with Penny. I know he's gonna get hurt. I do. Okay, so just get that out the way. I assume his legs are already falling off. But when he is healthy in Philadelphia, like he'll be behind Swift whenever Swift goes down because he's getting hurt too. I'm gonna have a 3-star running backs for like 3 or 4 games. So it's a high upside play is essentially what I'm trying to buy there. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, perfect. Guy you and I absolutely love. I was hoping he would fall. I wasn't positive, but he did. Elijah Moore. This guy is undervalued.
I was
because
shocked
he
that you did not pick him earlier.
So it was a risk, but he was the other guy I wanted. He was undervalued in New York, and now he gets a better quarterback, in my opinion, a better scheme, and is the true number 2 behind Amari Cooper. David Njoku gets all this hype every year. That dude is going to be 3 touchdowns in a game and nothing else rest of the year. Elijah Moore is going to be there, 7 catches, 60 yards week after week. I'm excited I got him.
So this will be interesting because I'm going to reach a little bit here. Oh, I'm definitely reaching.
Odell Beckham Jr.
No, I'm not reaching. I said reaching. I didn't say like completely ruin my team.
Shooting the moon.
Shoot. Like I didn't say like straight up like, man, this could be a total Hail Mary here, literally and figuratively. I still think there's some value here. I'm gonna go with Jerick McKinnon. Why not run it back? I mean, this dude was like the last 12 games or 8 games or whatever it was. Dude was a freak, and we're talking like the wide receiver like 3 or running back 3. So I'm taking PPR. I get it. This is only half PPR, but I'm taking the upside here. I need people to fill in and compliment Ramondre. This one,
all right.
again,
I'm throwing out a red flag on this one. Dalton Kincaid. I'm not
yeah,
trying to alongside Dawson Knox, who's a known red zone threat. I don't think you're going to get much out of that guy.
He's a guy that you would take a flyer like way late in the draft.
Yeah, he's a guy you monitor for usage. You hope that he gets the snap share.
I don't think I'm ready to start drafting high-end handcuffs like Elijah Mitchell. I still think there's, wide receiver value here. So at this point, you're kind of just hoping, all right, start thinking of guys that may or may not start thinking of offenses and thinking of number 2s. So not a ton here. However, between Jacoby Myers and Michael Gallup. Oh, Daubs is down there too. By the way, rumor is that Daubs is now Love's number 1. Yeah, he has surpassed Watson. He's more of a true wide receiver. But
He's a guy you want to throw the ball to 8-9 times a game,
yeah,
while Watson is a guy you want to give 7 plays to, and that includes
yeah,
trick plays, so maybe 5 targets a game.
yeah. So that's a hot take this year, probably the first one this year. Romeo Doubs outscores Christian Watson in a
I
PPR
love
format.
that is hot because I can see it being like true, but I know in fantasy.
Oh, we're gonna get smoked if the Green Bay Packers fans get on here.
Who's
I'll
the
drink to that.
who do the Bears have? Donta Foreman and Khalil
That is
Herbert.
a
Is that it?
that is no. They have Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, and then they who's the other guy? Oh, Roshan Johnson. They drafted a
Oh, okay.
relatively high. I think he was like in the third or fourth round.
Yeah, there he
And
is.
he was Bijan's backup, but he was like a backup that could go anywhere else and start. Think like I don't know, half the running backs for Ohio State because half of them go into committees and then come out and do decent in the NFL. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
All right, so what do I got? I got 3 running backs. Thing is, I'm gonna be grabbing high upside running backs later because just what I do. I think I need one more receiver. I want high upside here, and I know it's just another pick you're gonna hate, but it's gonna go right on the Rashad Penny. And I know I joked about it 2 seconds ago, but Odell Beckham, like if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, whatever. He's my 6th wide receiver. So I think if he hits, it can be.
He has an incentive laden contract, heavy incentives.
And I believe in Lamar more than most people as a passer.
All right, what do we got? 4 rounds left. Okay.
Yeah, and don't kicker and defense too. So like you have
now you got to start taking dart throws. See, here's the thing, man. I'm a like, are we playing that we have to fill out our roster? Meaning,
typically I wouldn't, but I have a feeling that's the way this website works.
Fine.
I could be wrong.
Whatever.
I wouldn't. I would never draft a kicker and defense until I needed them.
Nope. I'll pick them up off waivers and pick somebody off my team that got hurt or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean until I need them, which is like the day before week 1.
Find you some value here, Phil.
Oh my gosh, it's totally my pick. When you're not paying attention, it really catches up to you. All right, I'm gonna let you take Dobbs because I already have like what I have, like 6 wide receivers, 7 wide receivers. I don't know. So I said I'm going for high upside running backs. So I feel like, do you know if Dalvin Cook is rumored to go to Miami? Because I saw Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson are both really low. If that's not the case,
did Dalvin Cook even get drafted in this draft yet? I would think.
Yeah, he's somewhere. He's round right here, 6'1".
He tried. So. Anyways, actually, the flying rumor today was that the New York Jets are very seriously pursuing him, which would kill me because I don't understand why they would do that to Breece Hall. But some of it is supposedly just to spite the Miami Dolphins and drive the price up.
That sounds like them.
They're very seriously saying that they may or may not be making those rumors on purpose.
So I'm going to do more due diligence on my high upside running backs later. We'll have it in a whole RB episode. But for now, I'm going Jeff Wilson. When he was the guy in Miami, that he looked great. So I think he can do it again. And even if Dalvin Cook is there, him and Mostert are both red flags on getting hurt, right? So
yeah, I'm just
Wilson might play.
Yeah, I agree, but they drafted Devon A-Chain, whatever his name is. So I think he's going to have more of the home run hitting ability. I think that they'll kind of use him in a Sproles.
Yeah, but Jeff Wilson, for being the smallest guy, is always a goal line back, and I don't understand it. All right, like I thought you would. You went Dobbs. That's a great pick, honestly. When you can get a number 1 this late,
how about 2?
If he's not,
how about 2? How about 2? Shark Attack.
Not when Nuke goes there, baby.
All right, I'm playing that as of right now. I don't know how they are billing Thielen as the 1. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Shark has he's got the size and the speed and the pedigree. If anybody is going to be the 1, it's going to be DJ Chark. Supposedly, Terrace Marshall's having a great camp, but Terrace Marshall literally was healthy scratched multiple times last year. So I would be shocked if he made a, hey, I was scratched a whole bunch last year too. I'm the number one, even on a team that's totally rebuilding. I think Chark is the guy that will be the one to have in this crappy offense.
All right, so this is actually a guy I was thinking about taking last time, and I'm actually happy he fell. Jalen Warren. I think he can be the pass catching back in Pittsburgh. I think they're going to try to limit Najee's usage a little bit more because they realize they're just running that dude in the ground.
Well, they said they were. We'll see if they actually
yeah.
do it.
So and I think he has high upside. Najee gets hurt, he'll get more usage. But I also think Captain Checkdown might be happening, and he'll be getting fed that way. So let's see what happens here. I'm up. Oh, and they are letting me take non.
Oh, good, great. All these dumb bum computers are taking defenses.
I'm so much smarter than them. I'm not going to take a defensive kicker. And then we're going to get terrible draft grades. I don't know if this site gives draft grades, but we're just going to get.
By the way, I saw a fun stat today. Only one offense last year kept a 3 wide receiver core that had each over 100 targets. Guess who?
Bengals?
Vikings. They were the only team that had 3 wide receivers that had more than 100 targets. There were 3 twos. Bengals were one of them.
Osborne and probably Hawkinson too, right?
So it was actually Thielen, Jefferson, and I think it was Osborne. Now, they did say that after Hawkinson was signed, the pace of Thielen fell off. He barely got over 100. So
it's really Osborne, Jefferson, Hawkinson.
And Hawkinson.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Addison's going to be in there. In fact, I hope he's in there.
I like Nico Collins. Addison.
Somebody took Addison.
He went way earlier. But I like Nico Collins as just a late dart throw. Young guy. If he makes a connection with his young quarterback, you'll see it in the preseason. So he's a big athlete. Worth a flyer. I don't think they have anyone else, right? You're talking Robert Woods.
So. We just talked about him, so I'm going to take him. I'm taking
Robert
Gallup.
Woods. Gallup. No. I like Gallup. I was thinking about him, but I have Cooks, so I can't double.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's a toss-up between crappy offense here, Nico Collins or Robert Woods. Supposedly Robert Woods looks good in camp. I mean, so does Nico. I don't know. I mean, the only guy that actually truly has had, before he blew out his knee, a wide receiver 1 season, it's Robert Woods. You can make the argument that Mechie comes in here somewhere, but I'm not convinced on anybody. I'm not convicted on any of those clowns. So, yeah. By the way, if you're shooting blanks here at the end, I would consider taking a QB. I'm not going to, because I'll just pick up, because I see a bunch of starters here.
It's a 1 QB league. I wouldn't do it unless you see everyone else taking 2. Like, if you see that there's only 3 or 4 starters left, I'd say grab one, but I'm not worried.
All right, my last pick here. I am going to find somebody that I think total dart throw. Where is he? There he is. Bam! Supposedly, he has been the best wide receiver, hands down, in that training camp, that offseason OTAs. Dude's going to be hurt for 8 games, but when he wasn't hurt last year, again, this is like, maybe it's an OSU thing. Maybe it's an OSU wide receivers, like maybe second tier, because Michael Thomas can't get out of the injury reserve, and apparently Paris Campbell can't either. When they're on the field, they are lights out.
All right. So this is going to be crazy. It's a, deep sleeper, but that's why we're here, to throw out random things like this. Zach Evans for the Rams.
Hey,
they have not liked any running back that they have on their roster at all. Every time they bring someone in, they suck. 6th round rookie, obviously not a lot of capital, but It's there.
Here's what's interesting, though. I'm with you on this pick. They literally tried to trade Cam Akers last year and said, get off of our team. Didn't find any takers. He came back, and everyone's saying, oh, but his last 3 games. I'm like, listen, remember who was their quarterback the last 3 games? Of course, they're going to run the ball a billion times. They've got basically a guy that you've never heard of. We got Ken Call out there at quarterback. So, yeah.
It wasn't Baker?
Baker sucks, okay? We already know this. But
we love laughing about Baker.
Again, they're running the ball a ton. Yeah, I get it. He's relatively high drafted. However, Zach Evans, what has a crazy pedigree, was I think the number one high school running back coming out of high school for his class. He was a killer when he was at he was at Ole Miss before he was at TCU. He was like people were saying he's first round pick, no doubt. He's going to be one of the guys that's up there with Bijan. He fell off because he's got some off season stuff or off the field stuff. He's always had like been a kind of a prima donna. He's got some stuff where he's got a little bit of who was the guy George Pickens in him, where he doesn't have the great surrounding group of friends that don't keep him out of and say, "Hey, you're a famous athlete. You should not be doing stupid things." But we're talking like size, speed, the whole nine. This guy was supposedly coming out of high school and he was going to be the next big thing. So I'm fine with that. And
I mean, it's a dart throw, and if you read and see bad things in the preseason, he's off your team. But at the same time, if you're drafting early, this is a guy that you might see in the preseason. He might be third on the depth chart going in the year. But it's like you might see him in the preseason bust out like 20 rushes for like 10 rushes for like 100 yards in a preseason game or something.
Yeah, stupid. But Cam Akers is also temperamental too. So he clearly showed that he would throw a fit if he doesn't get traded. He did, sat out, blah, blah, blah. I'm healthy, whatever. I mean, this whole backfield was a dart throw. Like, if I had a choice to pick Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert, or Deontay Foreman this late, yeah, I'd throw a dart at one of them. One of them might stick. Hey, Kenny Gainwell, that's a sneaky one. I don't know.
All right, so let's just run through each team real quick. We'll even do the computers just because they're there, and I got the whole draft board up. But team 1, like, I'm looking at it. Yeah, you did good. You were aggressive on running back. You got Jalen Hurts. I hate the receivers, and there's nothing they can do about it besides trade off of what will be a valuable running back. Dameon Pierce won't, but it's like Breece Hall or Austin Eckler are probably going to have to go to give you something at receiver because don't know what's going on with Nuke. These receivers just garbage. I know it's a computer, but just letting people know that's why going running back heavy early can be dangerous. What do you think?
Again, this is like art and science here. We're doing a little bit of both, but running back is just by nature much higher injury rate. I mean, you have in this case this is half PPR, so you get a little bit of a bump. But Austin Eckler has never had over 1,000. No, I don't think he's had a single season over 1,000 rushing yards. So. Yeah. This is half PPR. If this was PPR, yeah, I'm okay with that for just a redraft league. But if something happens where all of a sudden Keenan Allen starts taking more of those short passes, and I get it, Austin Eckler had a crazy amount of targets last year. Keenan Allen missed 7 or 8 games. That's going to eat in a little bit to his pedigree on the receiving side, and he doesn't have the 1,000-yard upside. So I think it's
all right, now you're going to hate me for critiquing your team, but I want more running back than that. I feel like you are relying on making a move. And don't get me wrong, Jefferson, Higgins, Moore, Ayuk, Burks, that's power at the receiving.
That's lethal. Lethal.
That is those are all I mean, you have 4 true number ones and then Ayuk, who I think is a number 1, but like, you split so much. But then you also have good depth. So it's like you could probably, make some moves, but your team is definitely one where you got to do something about your running back situation at some point.
Yes and no. Okay, to be fair, I don't delineate between half PPR and full PPR all that much.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is a full PPR nightmare, or like I am a nightmare for someone because Gibson, McKinnon, they make up for their lack of rushing with their full PPR standpoint. So, you know, it, yes, I would say, but who was left on the board? Let's see who was left on the board when I had Stevenson. Okay, so
So
ETN.
Hall, or wait, no.
I probably could have picked up ETN. I may or may not have traded. I may have gone Stevenson ETN over more. That could have been a good one.
You're going the
But
wrong way because ETN
oh
was off
shoot.
when you went more.
Yep, sorry. Yep, I'm going the wrong way. It's crazy you say this, but again, I probably should probably. There's a chance I could have went J.K. Dobbins or Miles Sanders. You can make the argument.
Yep, I would have agreed with. I wouldn't have had a problem with you going Dobbins or Sanders. I was actually thinking about them at my pick.
Yeah.
But again, this is our first, mock draft to get experience. Anyways, my team's perfect. I don't see a flaw. I couldn't love a team more.
You have listen. I'm man. I know McCaffrey wouldn't have landed there, but oh, I just can't see myself going RB out the gate. I just can't.
I mean, I am very happy that I ended with number one receiver, high usage. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, I believe, will be high usage. I agree. My high end wide receiver isn't too good, but if my running backs hit, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like everyone says, there's a whole balanced approach. You went with two RB1s. I went with an RB1 and then a bunch of wide receiver ones. I'm playing a little bit of statistics here. I think there's a better chance that wide receivers hit than RBs hit. But when RBs hit, it's kind of no joke.
Yep. It's like if McCaffrey and Pollard are both top 5 backs, or I don't know what they're at right now, 8. It's like, all right, my team's awesome.
Zeke's going back to Dallas.
Of course,
if
Pollard pops, is he really?
No, I'm kidding. It's the only place that wants him.
All right, let's see this next team. So Chase, Waddle, Andrews. I hate their running back situation. I don't think.
See, here's the wild card here. This is where
the heart right here with the running backs, right?
Every year, this happens. Somebody has a crappy team, and then they hit on an unbelievable quarterback that just carries them. Fields is not an unbelievable quarterback. He is an unbelievable athlete, and that doesn't necessarily matter for wins and losses. It matters a ton in fantasy football. And you have the ability to have 250 yards passing and 100 yards rushing every week. So, that in itself with no touchdowns is what? Boom, 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 right off the bat. It might even be, no, it's 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on because it's 25 per.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, that is just insane.
Well, a guy I think is really underrated on this team is Mark Andrews. I think he realistically should probably be drafted high second round or mid second round.
He'll rebound because of the air raid attack.
Well, they're switching to air raid, and he's by far the best receiver on that team, and he has a great connection with Lamar. So I think he's an undervalued guy, and I don't know if I said it. If I hadn't gone running back, I would have taken him with my third pick. Right.
Ooh, you'll like this next one, by the way. So moving on. Man, this guy's okay. Man, this next one, not a fan at all.
Is it because they're relying on a backup quarterback?
Potentially. That's also bad. That's bad. But you have Najee Harris. This is not one that you want to be in. All right, so first year, second year, some guy did some deep stats, which was the only player to go from 70% running back share to below 60 or around 60. I think it was 62 or below in usage percentage in his second year was Najee Harris and Trent Richardson. Not a good name to be a part of here. You also have Matt Canada came out and said that he can't keep Jalen Warren off the field. Ruh-roh.
There's a reason he was one of my late picks. But no, I'm with you. If they had, let's see, if this team, the draft is going this way, so he could have gotten, if they would have gone Joe Mixon here, I would actually think this team is fine.
Joe Mixon is going to get suspended too, but he's going to be the guy. They didn't do anything but get Chase
All right,
Brown.
fine.
So.
Mixon, Jones, or ETN. I would have been happy if they had any other running back. This team looks fine otherwise. Cup, Wilson. I
Yeah,
don't like Hollywood, but at least he's the one. I don't like
I'm
Evans
a
because he's
big
quarterback,
Dobbins
but at least he's
guy.
a
Hollywood is the one.
yeah. So this team
Evans,
is actually not bad with where they drafted people. Just swap out the names that they
dude,
use.
and this is what's crazy, man. Tampa Bay has an unbelievable. Baker's just so bad. I feel so bad for that team. They've got some horses on that team, man.
All right. All right. So just we'll speed run these last few. I like Team 6, but it is all upside. JSN, Miles Sanders, Rashad White. Like I don't see a floor to this team. It could die. What do you think?
I mean, you've got wild card with your best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Sanders is a total. I mean, best on the worst team. Again, Sanders is the best on one of the worst teams. Could be good, could be terrible. White,
yeah, exactly. Like there is no floor, but there's also this team could also erupt and do work.
Yeah,
All right,
I agree.
this one, I think this is a good balanced team that's just gonna be fine. I don't see
I think it'll
anything
be
I like or
fine.
dislike.
I
Yeah,
think it'll be fine. Nothing big. Devontae is going to hit a wall at some point with Jimmy. Just don't know when.
I like this. I like this team. Team 8. I think they have good balance everywhere.
Yeah,
Maybe need
bigger fan
weak
of.
at wide receiver, but that's it.
I hate Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson. I mean, their wide receivers they have no true one at all.
Yeah, that's true. All right,
No
let's see
true one.
9. I have no
I'm a
idea how I
big
feel
fan of
about
this team. I'm a huge
You
fan.
like
of
it
this
a lot.
team.
All right, so you
I
go
like
first
this
because
team.
I have like next to no opinion.
Look at what they did. They went a true wide receiver, a true RB1. It's going to probably have a bounce back year. Huge St. Brown fan. I'm a big Metcalf fan, even with JSN. Different type of route tree. I'm less concerned than other people are. I think the odd man out is Lockett. Jackson, big fan.
I
London,
like their
think
RB usages. They have good RB usage in Montgomery and Dillon.
Yeah.
High floor guys, middle of the
Yeah.
draft that you want.
Yeah, I like this team.
And Jackson could bounce back. All right, let's see. 10.
I'm a big fan of this next team too. So.
Oh, I love this team.
I think
Burrow's taken
team.
a bit high, but give me Diggs, Cooper. That is, I think Swift could be awesome if his needs stay in place.
I like Swift.
High upside receivers, and then good depth at running back.
Sutton, I think, has a bounce back year.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Harris will be okay in Buffalo. Kind of a floor there. Here we go. Here's a crap team.
I was about to say, I hate these running. Like I know Henry is Henry and Mixon, but like I'm out on this team. I'm just
dude. And then the last team. Listen, I don't know what they were doing. AJ Brown, Debo, no. Ken Walker, Cam Akers, Dalvin.
Like Addison. This is the team. This is the crazy uncle who's like, I got these sleepers, and then drafts the running backs way too high.
Man, then turns off halfway through the season because he's like, my team sucks.
All right, there you go. Our first look at a fantasy football mock draft. They'll get better as we go, but
give us feedback. Let us know what you think. Yes, CD Lamb.
Yeah, yell at me more about the Cowboys, even though I drafted a Cowboy. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.